Hey, what's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be doing a movie review of Star Wars Rogue One. And before I begin, I just want to say that there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this movie review. So if you haven't watched Rogue One already, please do not watch my movie review. Just want to put that out there. And in this video is just going to be my general opinion and take on the movie. Now, I also want to say that going in to seeing this movie, I did not know that it was a prequel to the original Star Wars that came out in the late 70s. I thought that this movie was going to be a sequel to the Star Wars that came out like a year ago or so. And for the first 30 to 45 minutes, I was sort of scratching my head to like, what the heck is going on here? And I was like, why is Darth Vader alive? Why is Tarkin alive? Because and another thing that sort of threw me off was the fact that Tarkin was in the original Star Wars and he was already like super old looking. And I mean, no offense to old people out there, but Tarkin was a very old looking person, and the fact that he looked almost identical, or he looked identical to himself back in the original film. I'm like, damn, he's on that Morgan Freeman trip right there. That's what I thought when I saw him in this movie. But I sort of figured out that was probably CGI. And also before the movie, I heard there was like a lot of talk. I because when I see Star Wars stuff online about the movie, I don't read it because I don't like watching trailers and all that. But I did hear there was a lot of controversy about certain people in the movie being like having them like CGI'd into the movie or something. But I didn't really know what they were talking about until I saw it when I was watching the movie. So that sort of threw me off. And then another thing that sort of threw me off was the fact that all these characters in the movie, like for the first 30 or 45 minutes or so, I've never heard of. And I thought that the girl and the dude from the Star Wars that came out like a year ago were going to be in it at some point. And I was like, yo, where the heck are they at? And then also another thing that sort of tripped me up was the fact they were talking about the Death Star. And I'm like, yo, they blew that shit up in, because the second trilogy is like, the first one in like the time chronology, whatever it's called, and then the original trilogy comes after the second trilogy, and then this trilogy is supposed to be after, what is it, like the original trilogy. So I'm like, in what was that? I think it was the fourth movie. No, no, it wasn't the fourth movie. It was the Return of the Jedi, like the last one in the original trilogy. They blew up the Death Star, and I'm like, how the heck doesn't the Rebel Alliance know that there's a Death Star when they just blew it up? So I think that's when I sort of figured out something wasn't right there. And then once I saw Darth Vader, I'm like, oh, this definitely has to be some sort of prequel or a flashback or something, because this, it wouldn't make sense, because Darth Vader, well, didn't he like throw himself into like the reactor and with the Emperor or whatever? So I'm like, yeah, he's definitely dead. Unless the one douchebag in the movie before, I forget what his name is, but he was like the main villain. Unless he's just trying to pose as Darth Vader. That's what I might have. That's what I thought like for a couple minutes. I'm like, no one's that ballsy to try to pull off Darth Vader. But I did also find out that James Earl Jones, who is the voice of Darth Vader in the original movie, they use his voice to voice Darth Vader. But they, obviously James Earl Jones wasn't actually in the Darth Vader suit. It was another person, but they were just using his voice. But another thing that I want to say that sort of messes up how we view the original Star Wars, because basically at the end of the movie, Princess Leia escapes from the one flagship that's captured by the Empire, and Darth Vader basically goes, Rambo, and just throwing motherfuckers like left and right, boom, 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 and then they take this hard drive disc or whatever that they basically they threw it across, or they gave it to one of the rebel soldiers, gave it to another rebel soldier, and then they flew off. And in the original Star Wars, they make it seem as if Princess Leia and all these people on board are like clueless of them having these plans or whatever, And I remember I was watching an IGN video when I got back last night, and they're talking about how this movie sort of messes up some of the ways we look at other points in some of the other Star Wars movies. And they basically said that it makes Darth Vader look like a cop or a dad who basically saw you run a red light, or they just saw you do something illegal, and then once they finally catch up to you, you're like, oh, I don't know what just happened. And that's sort of what we see from uh, if you watch Rogue One and then you watch the original Star Wars, it really makes the opening scene in the original Star Wars look goofy as fuck now. Just saying. But my thoughts on CGI. Hey, look, I think that it's extraordinary that we advance so much in technology that we can have people who have been dead for like 20 years reappear in a movie, and it's like it blows my mind away. Like Tarkin, the actor that plays him, he's been dead for a minute, but I do think that the acting in this movie was phenomenal. I think the ending was definitely sad. Like my girlfriend was like, "Oh shit!" I mean, when the one droid passed, like when he died or whatever, I'm like, "Damn, bro." And he was a funny ass droid. You know what I'm saying? He was like cracking jokes and stuff like that. Like C-3PO, he's cool, but he's like a like fucking Poindexter. So like I don't just a nerdy droid or whatever. This guy's like he's like a Deadpool like funny droid. I don't know, but that was definitely sad. And then you see the two main characters, they die once the Empire blows up the Archives planet or whatever. And what's funny is that Tarkin, he blew up a planet and killed the guy who came up with all this. What's his name? Orson Krennic. And then in one of the movies, Tarkin dies in almost the same fate. It's like he's blown up or whatever. So, but in closing, I think this movie was a good movie. I think you guys should go see it. It's definitely worth it. And that's all I have to say. And have a nice day. Peace.